Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
How you doing? This is a guy from Pittsburgh, and this morning...
Who cares? I found my...
There it goes again. Boy, I gotta do something about that. Every time I download something off the net, I forget to unclick it. I gotta remember to do that. Well, anyway, this morning, the Prime Minister of Malaysia said that it's a certainty that flight MH370 is down in the Indian Ocean. My question is, why didn't they send jets out to look for this thing when it dropped off the scope? Why didn't they start looking when the thing turned in a different direction? Why did they wait for days before they started looking for this plane? And yet there's reports on Fox this morning. They're sending fishing boats from China, for God's sakes, to look for debris. That whole area has been hit with a big rainstorm, limited visibility. There's a typhoon in the area that won't affect it, but it's really hard to look for stuff. They're going to have to go there with guys on boats, and they're going to have to pick up stuff with a net and pick it out of the ocean and see what the debris is. And then I heard a Noory program, I'm still listening to it, I haven't finished, where they had an expert who wrote a book on Flight 800, another mystery that our federal government tried to tell us was a fuel tank. That's what a crock that is, when it was really shot down by a missile. That Malaysia was too cheap to spend the money to send a Rolls-Royce so that the plane's engines could have been tracked by Rolls-Royce in England. And I don't remember who bought Rolls-Royce a while back. I think it might have been Ford. So they could have tracked this thing by the engine sending out a signature, but they were too cheap to pay the money. They got money to build the world's biggest skyscraper there, but they don't have a few bucks to make sure that people are tracked when the plane disappears. And the poor people in China, they're weeping at the airport at the news the Malaysian Prime Minister, with the Malaysian Prime Minister and the Malaysian government blew it. They should have had fighter jets out searching for this thing. They should have gone to Australia or anybody nearby. Hey, help us look for this plane. It's missing. Once that plane was recorded of not having any fuel in it, they should have gone out and looked for that the first thing in the morning. And maybe they would have found it. If it were up to me, that guy and his whole government would be in jail for criminal negligence. There's no reason to be looking for this plane 3 weeks later when they could have found it in a day or two. Maybe. Okay. Couple of other things. Sirius XM sent me a inbox in my email this morning. They wanted me to buy a Sirius XM radio for our car. Well, if we had a car. Car got hit last year in total by hit and run driver, so we're saving up for another Prius. And Art Bell fan 1 asked me why I was waiting for my radio show till April. I said I ran out of money. Only got so much money. And that's part of the reason I started doing these videos. Hope to make money off YouTube to get more money, to do more videos, and get more stuff. And I'm listening on tips to how to do a radio show on Blog Talk. And there's a thing on equipment you need to do a radio show. I'm going to listen to that today. Rain's coming. I woke up with a sinus headache. Every time it rains, my sinuses go crazy. But I got to thinking about Sirius XM. Here they are sending me a thing about I want to listen to MLB, Major League Baseball. And yes, I do. I love the baseball season. As Garrett Moore's character said, baseball has been very good to me. And I can't wait for the start of baseball season and my Pirates go Bucks. But I got to thinking, they want me to buy a radio. And yet these bums, excuse me, they wouldn't let Art Bell go back on the air. And Art had streaming problems. So my first thought was, gee, I wonder if Noory took over Art's channel, even though he denied that wasn't his intent. He moved into that slot the minute Art left the chair. The chair wasn't even cold yet. And Noory took over like a thief in the night. And so I wonder if Noory's been having any streaming problems. So let people let me know. Has Noory had streaming problems with his show? Because I haven't listened to Sirius XM. I canceled my membership because I was ticked off at him. And yeah, I'll probably eventually buy a radio next year or in November when we get a car. We talked to a Toyota dealer. They're going to let us put down $6,000 in November, and we'll pay probably a 2010 or 11. $100 a month payment, so we can swing that. We'll have another car. Then you'll be seeing me doing remotes because I'll be able to get around instead of having to take the damn bus everywhere. And so if you've heard any streaming issues with Noory, or maybe Sirius fixed those once Art was gone, as part of the Sirius XM George Noory Premier Radio conspiracy. And speaking of Premier Radio, they're taking YouTube posts off left and right, or demanding that posters take them off. There was a great double post there of the Art Bell 2037 time traveler call. Luckily, I was able to copy the audio, so I've got that on my computer. But I posted that on my board, the guy from Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh.boardhost.com, and my admin tells me, hey, the video's gone. And I found another copy of it, but who knows how long that will stay up. So if you're listening to the audio of old Art Bell or Noory programs, be advised that Premier, because of their greed, is taking them all off. And particularly in the case of Art Bell, when Art asked him, I don't want my shows rebroadcast anymore, and Premier gave him the finger. Come to think of it, Sirius gave him the finger too. So shows what they think of Art Bell. The dollar is more important than integrity to Premier and Sirius and George Noory. If it had been me, I would have said, no, I'm not taking over Art's channel. You give me a different channel. That belongs to Art Bell, and bring back Art Bell. And by the way, free Art Bell. That's what I would have done if I was George Noory. And when I see him in person, I'm going to ask him why he didn't have the integrity to just say no. Like Nancy Reagan wanted us to say no on drugs. That would have been the right thing to do, George. So I'm going to sit down and listen to some George Noory today. I got cleaning to do in the bedroom. If I can hear it all the way in the bedroom. I got to plug in my old Mac, my umbrella, the one that looks like an umbrella with the screen up there. That it's a $300 job to fix the drooping screen part. Not one of Apple's better designs. It looked cute, but the only way you can fix that tube is you got to take it to a shop, and they got to put a whole new part in if they can get one. And after we pay for the car, my next step is to get probably an iPad. I went into Best Buy and they had some refurbished iPads for about $100 cheaper than a regular iPad. And there are some rumors out there. Apple is talking to, this was on Fox, not a rumor, they're talking to Comcast about having streaming television in a line with Comcast where you'd watch Apple TV content through your set box with Comcast. And I've been thinking of going to Uverse because Comcast keeps crapping out every time it gets hot here or it rains, even though it would cost me a lot more money. I pay $40 a month for Comcast. I got to pay the housing building $20 a month, and then I pay Comcast $20 a month. So it's a lot cheaper than Uverse. But with Uverse, I don't think it would crap out all the time. And, of course, there's rumors Apple's going to come out with a new revamped iPad. Apple's going to come out with the iPhone 6. And we're still waiting for that iWatch that is not being seen on anyone's wrist. I don't know what's going on with that. I will say one thing. I still think if Jobs were alive, we'd be seeing a lot of this stuff. I am not impressed whatsoever with Tim Cook. Jobs was the innovator. Jobs, he treated his employees badly, yelled and screamed at them, but Jobs would kick butt and get stuff out to market. We're not seeing the innovation from Apple, and that's why their stock went down $100. Oh, I did notice the other day when I went into Pac Mail, it was over 500 again. So, well, tonight I'm going to call Belgab. If Michael Van, or whatever the hell his name is, I can never pronounce it or remember it, MV from Belgab, I'm going to not call Belgab, so I got Belgab on the brain here. I'm babbling or gabbling or something. I'm going to call Gab, whatever, what is that damn thing? Gabcast, there we go. I keep thinking Gab Talk. Too many names to remember, I'm getting old. I'm going to call that radio show and see if they'll let me on, or see if Mikey Stalinist gives them orders from headquarters not to let me on the air. And I'll talk about the hacking of my board, the lurkers. When I got up this morning, I looked on the board. There were 8 lurkers there, but I've posted a couple posts, but I've decided I'm not going to post for a while. Lurkers want to read something, they got to join. They're not joining. It's not like I'm putting a gun to their heads, and it's not like they got to pay anything. It's free. But it would be nice to get some contributions from people. And my moderator found 3 active links on the Gabcast forum put up by MV that flat out say that he is active in this conspiracy to make sure that I never get mentioned on his board, and that's why he banned me from the board. And I'm going to look at those today, and if I can comment on them on Gabcast, I will. If I can't, then I'm going to do a video on them. And I still think that MV felt threatened about, I hesitate to use the word burgeoning. I got to look it up. Just a minute. I hate using words that, well, that's not exactly the right word. It's to grow and flourish, to put forth new buds, leaves, or greenery, to begin to grow or blossom. Well, it's technically true, but it's not the word to use. But my burgeoning success on YouTube, and the people were always talking about me. And the great irony is, of course, he threw me off, and people are still talking about me. He threw Casio off, and occasionally people are talking about him. And any post that's left about me, and mediocre Mikey throws off the board. He deletes it. Because I don't know if it's resentment or fear, or he just doesn't like the competition. And so, I don't really care in one level like this. I don't care. At another level, it galls me that a guy could kick somebody off for doing absolutely nothing wrong when he had stalkers and haters like Bart L. and others actively posting after every post I make. I put my first podcast on, immediately got attacked by Bart L. and his buddies. And instead of doing the right thing a man of honor and integrity would do, and as Worf says, he has no honor, he throws me off and leaves these bums on. And this is why I've made numerous mentions, and I got it on my site, about stalkers, trolls, and haters. They're out there because they have no life. They enjoy making people miserable all the time. And it used to depress the hell out of me, and now I just shake my head and go, what is wrong with these people, and move on. It doesn't bother me anymore, except on a level of it's affecting my board. Particularly when they hacked it and it took me 36 hours to fix the board. So, there's that story, and I'm going to be doing some paranormal posts on YouTube. I got some ideas, including one creepy one. People seem to like my Shadow Man. Cassio is afraid of Shadow Man. For a guy that doesn't exist, he's afraid of him, and yet what's weird is they created that thing and now people are saying they've seen the guy. I don't know what to think. I posted a post on there listing all my paranormal books, and that was a pain. Not so much dragging them off the bookshelf, it's the book dust. It made me choked almost to death for about a half an hour. I was coughing up stuff. I must obviously be allergic to shelf dust. I got a lot of dust in here. How much I dust. I'm going to have to get someone to come in here once a month or once a week and just dust the shelves. I talked to a storage space yesterday, and we're going to go get a truck and take a lot of this excess stuff out of here and put it in storage until I can go through it and decide what gets saved and what gets recycled or given to the library or whatever. Be working in my bedroom today. And that's about it. I will be listening to Noory and doing more paranormal posts and see what happens. And I'm real sorry about those people if they ever find the wreckage and they are gone. May they rest in peace. May their families have some closure. It's a horrible thing to have a couple hundred people just disappear like that by a government too cheap to spend the bucks to be able to find them. May they rest in peace. Alright, this is the guy from Pittsburgh on that sad note, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.